What up, fellas?
How's it going? We're back.
We're back.
Look at this. We got Beerend in the middle of the night from the Netherlands, right? What's up, brother? How you doing? Your audio is not
I
working.
hear you, brother.
Yeah. Hello,
Dude, I wonder
hello.
what time it is in the Netherlands right now. That is some serious dedication.
Yeah, I bet it's like 2:30-ish. Let's see. How's everybody else doing? Who do we got on here? We got Kyle Montgomery is new to the group. Did a call with him. It's good to see you, man. How you doing,
Yeah.
Spencer? Uh-oh, is my audio going out now too? You with us, Spencer?
I can
No,
hear you.
We hear you.
Okay, cool. A lot of people jumping in here.
Coming in.
All right.
Greg Adams coming in.
Did you get your audio figured out, Beerend? Is he still?
No, he's got a mic issue he doesn't know how to fix, he says. He needs
Okay.
support.
1:32 a.m. in the Netherlands. His mic has gone to sleep for the night. All right. We got Chuck coming in here. Craig, what's up, man? Waves. All right, we're gonna do a we're gonna start off like we always do with wins, and then I'm gonna do kind of a interview audit analysis of somebody who's struggling with some GMB stuff. Next week, I think we're going to really jump into more of like the planning stuff, because we have the end of the quarter. We got our new 90 days. If you guys have teams, I would be recommending that you start to plan for your quarter three now, right? Get your planning. The new quarter starts at the beginning of July. So you don't want to wait until the new quarter starts to start planning. 90 days is not a long time period. You don't want to give up 7 of them because you haven't planned stuff out. So I know we have some really aggressive goals for our next quarter. We are making some big changes in kind of how we're doing things in our agency with which I think is going to set us up for scaling. And I think it is going to be something that we can share with all you guys and you guys can benefit from. Beerend saying he doesn't know what's up with his mic yet. All right, who's got some wins? We had 2 weeks since our last live call. That should be enough time for some wins.
Got some wins.
Alfredo, my man, what's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing well. Last week I had 2 phone calls, 2 Zoom meetings, and it was nice to be able to, one, say no to one of the client. It wasn't a fit. It's weird because I kept telling her no. She wants to promote like her coaching. That's not what I do. And she just kept insisting like, no. So that was
crazy how they come for you more when you tell them no.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah. And then the second one was a referral, which was kind of nice because it's a flower shop referral, 2 locations, 2 GMBs, 2 websites. And again, I said, look, you're on WordPress on one. I don't know what platform you're on the other one. I can help you with one and then help you with both GMBs. And again, he's insisting, no, I want you to take both websites and both GMBs. So I meet with him tomorrow to finalize that, which is pretty exciting because it'll be one of my first actual referrals that I've had, which is kind of nice, you know?
Yeah, that turns into a snowball, man. The referral snowball. When you get in the neighborhood of 30 or 40 happy clients, then, you know, you just, if you had 52 clients and you got 1 referral per year from each client, then that would be 1 per week, right? So it's crazy how quickly things can start to add up, and you have to start telling people, look, we're going to put you on a waiting list for a couple months. And, you know, part of it is you need to figure out how we can scale and do things faster. But the referrals, they come in hot, and they're also vetted by the clients that refer them to you, that's amazing, because then you don't have to deal with jerks and people who have no business trying to run a business, right? So congrats on that, Alfredo. I think that the referrals are also super easy to close. Is this person is the referral already closed? Is that the
Yeah, Yeah, essentially it is. He just wants to get together, do the onboarding, give him the details, the deliverables. And he's, yeah, the way he's speaking is pretty much done deal. I already spoke to him once, gave him a Loom video with the heat maps on it, just like you teach us. He was just happy, like, hey, I'm about to leave. Can we meet sooner than later? Let's get this ball rolling.
That's cool, man. Congrats. That's
Mhm.
awesome to hear, man. It's nice to see from where you had no clients and now it seems like they're just gets easier and easier, right? And you get more
Yeah,
and more
definitely.
confident. Yeah,
Definitely.
super cool, man. Congrats.
Congrats, that's awesome.
It looks
Does this
like
work, this
Angela.
microphone?
Oh, what's that?
Yes. Does it work?
Beerend from
Wait,
the Netherlands.
There you
It's
go.
working.
I hear him.
there it goes.
What's up,
Problem
man? How are you?
solving. I'm doing great. Like, I've been learning so much since I've starting like my side job and eating a much better diet, which improved my cognition dramatically. So yeah, it's doing great.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I know that you have a kind of a partnership going now with somebody else in the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you guys are making some good progress and moving forward on things.
Yeah, collected our first address today and sending the postcards, etc.
Cool. Cool. I don't know about you guys, but one thing that we've been feeling in our agency is a delay on the postcards arriving, and we track our postcard recipient rate, and typically it's about 33%, but lately it's
Mhm.
been about like between 10 and 12%. So something we're struggling with. Google goes like this. This is my experience, and I'm not freaking out because it's always up and down. We're like, more things are getting suspended. Now more things are going through, and like postcards aren't showing up. Oh, the postcards are showing up again. So it's just kind of like ebbs and flows, and that's just part of how this business. So I don't want you guys to freak out if you guys are experiencing the same thing. One of the things that we're
I had the
really
same thing.
same thing.
Yeah, but I also know someone who started, and I started doing this as well, which is future-proofing your Gmail account because Google would be looking at your Gmail history to see if you are real or not.
Right. Yeah. So we're doing the same thing, and we're also starting to kind of build more the citations prior to requesting the postcard. We are getting closer to having our citation service ready for you guys, so you can order them like directly from within our system. We have different packages. I think they're very competitively priced. So that content should be coming really, really soon. We are just kind of working on the mechanics of the ordering system. So awesome, Beerend. That's good to hear, man. Congrats on the postcard and the partnership. You got any other wins, brother? I'm glad you're eating
Yeah, I
healthy
have a
right
great
now.
win. Like past week, I worked like more than ever before. I think I worked 17 hours, like
Holy
30
cow.
hours on my side job and 40 just on my own. Like every morning I woke up just sitting behind my laptop until midnight. And I kind of became, overworked, so I needed to get some more rest. But I spent like 30 hours just doing due diligence and really going deep in what is a due diligence. So I've searched for hundreds and hundreds of different cities, literally just like zombie, like maniac. And I figured out that 90% of the websites that I currently have, which are like 18 websites, are not low-hanging fruit.
Hmm.
So I have to start over again. And like one of the lessons I learned is that there are so many low-hanging fruits out there, much easier. And also, for instance, 3D service is really saturated. A lot there is not really a low-hanging fruit that it should be. Like,
Yeah. The more obscure you get, the more low hanging the fruit is, and you need to kind of take it with some balance, right? Because if you get too obscure, then there's not going to be volume, and you want to make sure obviously that you've got a high ticket. But just like Beerend said, there are so many great opportunities out there. Like if you take the time to do it, it can save you months and months.
really take the time.
Yeah.
Really do take the time. Just say like this week I'm only going to be doing due diligence, and I'm going to become like a master at this, and I'm going to compare 100 different markets and take the top 10.
Top 10.
Or
Yeah.
actually take like 300 like I did, or 400.
Send me a copy of the top 10 if you want to. That's fine. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm not going to, but they are like so freaking amazing.
It's awesome when you kind of get into that excitement spot. And I know that you've been struggling with some environmental stuff, and it's awesome that I've kind of seen you go through the shift, and I've read through your messages on the mental shift that you had on your perspective on how you're approaching life, how you're approaching some of the relationships that you have. So how old are you, Beerend?
I'm 19 years old.
19 years old,
I
guys.
joined this other group when I was 17, and the amount that like how much I've grown since I joined, it's crazy, because also I was/am in puberty. So a lot of my mental growth has been gone like into this mindset of entrepreneurship, which I'm very grateful for.
Awesome, man. I'll tell you, you know, the value of a book is different based on your age, like, or like where you are. So if I read back through some of the books that I read when I was like 18 or 19, like I probably won't get as much as I did when I read them the first time, but 2 books that I read when I was about your age, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then The Millionaire Fast Lane. That was maybe a little bit later. Those were awesome, like mindset entrepreneurial books.
Yeah.
You might, if you haven't read those, check those out, man. You might get some good stuff from them.
I've read a few too, but I feel like my mindset is so freaking strong that I at this moment need no books anymore. I just need to execute.
Execute. That's right. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to see you here. Thank you for making the sacrifice to jump on here at 1:30 in the morning your time, and congrats on the, like, sometimes it can take a long time to get to a spot where you have that mental shift, and then, you know, that's the beginning of a new era. So it's up to you how that happens. I kind of saw this happening with Spencer, right? You can turn a corner and then like everything's different from then on. So I hope that is what just happened for you. It seems like maybe
bizarre.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, brother. All right, man. Who else has some wins? What else we got?
I'll share, Patrick. First off, Beerend, man, your energy right now, being 19, bro, you inspire me. Like that's badass. Like I was just chatting with some of the other guys in the group here. Sounds like I need to catch a flight to the Netherlands to catch that vibration wave you're on, bro, because that is killer.
Thank you, man.
I love it, man. Keep the positive flow, man. Your life is going to change tremendously. So anyway, not a financial win. Obviously, I think I probably had some in the last couple of weeks. It's been kind of a whirlwind, but I want to share a situation that I walked away from. I know Alfredo just shared about it, but being able to walk away when you know it's not the right fit. I had agreed to a rev share deal. I normally don't do rev share deals, but the guy wanted to give me 20% of every roofing job they close from us optimizing GMBs. And I sent him over all the documents, invoiced, sat on things for 2 weeks, essentially kept reaching out. And he just was like, oh, well, we'll get the invoice paid. It was just like, once he thought he had like what he wanted from me, that he could just take his time. And when I told him like I didn't want to proceed any further because of I felt like it was a direct correlation of how they run their business is the way that they were going to be, you know, waiting 2 weeks to pay a $2,000 invoice for a website that we discounted, and then they were giving me, you know, the percentage from the GMB side of things, and they hadn't even added the team to optimize the GMBs. I mean, it was just this whole kind of snowball of things. And the guy tried to, you know, tell me that I was walking away from a multi-million-dollar roofing company that essentially doesn't have a website still. So I just want to let you guys know, like, I share that as a win because, you know, look for those red flags. I know it's harder to see because you're in the middle of the storm when you're newer. And as you start to get a little coin in your pocket, things start to really clear up, and those glasses that were kind of foggy when you're brand new to this rank and rank game, they start to get really clear, and you start to see these red flags. And I guarantee you that they will never be $1 million company, let alone a multi-million-dollar company, because they run like they're 1950s. And I know my value, and so I hope that the rest of you guys in this group know what value you guys bring, because, you know, I have the utmost confidence now with a lot of stuff that Patric's taught me and some other mentors that I can basically rank anybody with any marketplace It's just a matter of time because of the skill level. So I hope that you guys understand that. Yeah, just keep winning, you guys.
Awesome. Awesome, man. I 100% agree. You know, you guys can spend yourself out a lot on the wrong client, the wrong niche, the wrong city, and you can get sucked into these people. Some of these people that are running some of these companies, they can be good salespeople, but they could sell you on why they should be your client, and you got to listen to your gut, because sometimes they're not going to really have they're not going to have things in place to back up what they're saying. You know, I've got a couple wins of my own to share this week. So we got this house, we moved into this house, and it's got some issues, and so I've got all these like people coming out to fix random things on our house. And this house, we've got a swimming pool in the backyard, and we've got 4 sliding doors, and there's those sliding doors that like they fold and go like 16 different directions, right? So that you can open it all the way up, because we have an enclosure around the swimming pool. So that way you can open up all these doors. Well, they're really expensive to fix, is what I found out. So the guy comes out here to fix them, and it's going to be like $200 a door. We couldn't really move the door. So he's going to do all kinds of voodoo on the door and change out the rollers and all this stuff. And it's going to cost us, you know, $1,500. And I kind of like start Googling while he's working on things, sliding door repair niches. And I haven't tried to really sell and close anyone in a couple years, because Jeff handles it. When people come in, I'm usually like, Jeff, take this. But I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of this thing. It's one of the things that I think is my strength. So now we've got a new client. So he basically, I didn't have to pay anything. He fixed all our doors. He fixed some windows and stuff for us. We've got a new client. I think it's low hanging fruit. Some of he's been paying like $4,000 a month for Facebook and about $2,000 a month for Angie's List. So I can't wait until we can have him cancel those bills, and that money comes to us, and then he gets a lot better quality lead. You know, he has to talk to, I was asking, like, how many people do you talk to on Facebook from your ads before, like, what of those people, what of them actually put money in your pocket? And he's like, I have no idea, but I get, you know, 20 messages a day. I'm like, well, how many appointments from Facebook do you get a day? I'm like, you know, maybe 2 or 3. So like, okay, so that's like 10%. And like, of those people, how many have converted? He's like, probably like 50%. So this guy's like getting, you know, maybe 1 out of 20 conversations. When he starts getting calls where the people are like, hey, I need someone to come out and give me an estimate, it's going to be a completely different ballgame. Much higher quality leads. This guy seems like a great guy. And part of the conversation we had was like, what cities do you want to target? That's what when you guys are going through and closing these people, one of the questions I always ask is like, what cities and what services do you want to target? Like, your ideal person is where? He's like, oh, you know, I like this city, but I know it's going to be really competitive. And I'm like, you don't worry about that part of it, man. That's like, we're going to roll over. I don't care what the competition is. Just like Spencer is thinking, I have the same attitude is I can't, he wants to know, like, how long until I start to see leads? And I think a lot of you guys, a lot of marketing companies are going to fall into this trap, and you're going to give them some kind of date or prediction. And my response is, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to be, because I want to make sure we maintain that relationship. So that was one of the questions he asked me. It was like, we've had it take a year. We've had it take 6 months. I would say our average is probably between like 4 and 6 months. But we just stay on it until it happens. And then once it happens, it's a machine. So these are some of the questions that you're dealing with. And the way that you respond to these questions that they ask you is a lot to do with positioning. You know, he didn't know who I was. He doesn't understand that, like, oh, you've got a coaching program with 1,000 people that are trying to run marketing companies, and you've got a software. I'm some dude who just found his Facebook ad, and I'm trying, like, but he knew when he left that, like, because of the way I'm responding to those questions and the positioning that goes into everything I say, like, he's like, I'm so excited, man. This is like, I'm going to be able to shut off these other things. And like, he was believing, and, you know, we didn't have I think the close took 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. It was, you know, he's asking these questions, and, you know, he said, when I think that was a turning point when he asked, like, I don't know if I want to target this city because I know it's going to be super competitive. And I was like, wait, like, don't worry about that, man. We're like, we've got sites all over the country. We will absolutely demolish the competition. I can't tell you when, but there's no one else that has the combination of the people on the team and the skill set to do this. So, things started changing. He wasn't sure if he wanted to do this and he's like, let's do this. He's like, I'm in, I will take care of all this stuff. And, he left excited to do it. It's the confidence and the positioning. And when you guys have that, it's not really like the sales is no longer the problem. What is the problem is fulfillment, right? We have all these people that are coming through us and Alfredo, you got your first referral and that's great. And one of the things that I tell my clients is like, right now, it sounds like if we bring you a lot of leads and it's just you, like that sounds like a good problem, but it will be a real problem. And it's the same for you, Alfredo. Once you start to get referrals and you do great for your clients, like you're going to have to put them on a waiting list. We've told people that like we're going to put you on a waiting list. I put through this guy right into the mix. We've got other people on a waiting list because I didn't want to pay $1,500 to have these doors fixed. So we started him out right away. But what's going to happen when you get confident at what you can do and you have this sales thing dialed in is like, how are you going to scale? How are you going to manage it? I think the count that we had last week was we have 1,000 Google My Businesses and we have 400 websites. How are you going to manage that? Because for us, our agency is kind of taking a little bit of a hit because I think we have too much going on at the same time. So we're like I said, we're retooling some of our systems, and I'm going to share some of this stuff with you as we iron it out. Rather than, we have this software that I'm going to jump into it and share with you guys on another call. I have a template that you guys can use, and it's what we're using to run our agency. So it's going to be like you've got all your websites, all your Google My Businesses, and basically the strategy that we're using is, okay, here's how many reviews the Google My Businesses have. And we can go through and kind of create these views that say, show me where I have less than 5 Google My Businesses. Show me where, the last review was more than 2 months ago, right? So we're really shifting towards having our team members or VAs look at the where we have these lists set up with deficiencies and then building SOPs to have them fix the deficiencies. Because when you have 1,000 GMBs and 400 websites, it can be a lot to manage. It's easy for things to slip through the cracks. They say a lot of businesses, if you're working hard and you kind of have this energy like Beerend and Spencer have, you're probably not going to die from starvation, but you can die from like indigestion where you're trying to like do too many things, right? So you have to have this system in place and SOPs. If you hope to scale, you need to have other people know how to do this stuff and identify the problems. And then what do they do with it? And that's kind of, we didn't have it dialed in to the extent that we need. I think we're moving in an awesome direction. Because I think we kind of have this like indigestion thing where there's too many referrals coming in. There's too many sites that we're responsible for. We've got all these existing clients that need to be maintained. We've got a lot of sites. Jeff, how much money do you think we have that like with sites that we built where they're not completely ranking, but they're almost ranking? Like what do you think that monthly is that we're giving up right now?
At least it's multiple 5 figures. I don't know, 20, 30K maybe. I hate to even
I
say
need an
that.
exact number right now. Yeah, so you've got to have a system to manage all this stuff. And it's like, hey, if you guys are at the beginning and we're building our first like 10 or 20 sites, this isn't a problem that you have to solve right now. And I don't want you to try to solve it now because sequence is really important on how you do things, right? You don't need to think about hiring a chief financial officer when you're at like 2K a month, right? Like you need to think about that when you're at 200K a month, right? So don't worry about this if it's not there yet. Build for the system that you need now. I think that's really important. Okay, another win I want to share.
Patric, Beerend's on the case with Notion. He's still got his all of his SOPs.
Notion, that's exactly what we're using. I just didn't want you guys to get spun out
Yeah,
on this platform. Like I'm going to give you guys a template that I think is that we've been beating on for a year, right? So Notion's awesome. It's like Google Sheets, but there's like, it's a relational database. So you can kind of say like, hey, this Google My Business relates to this website, or show me the websites that have these Google My Businesses or whatever. So
You
Notion's
moved away
awesome.
from Infinity.
I did. I recommended Infinity.
That's the right
got everyone
choice.
on it, and then I'm like, peace out, guys. I'm doing something new.
Awesome.
Patrick,
But-
will you do me a favor and share? We've been getting a lot of contractor type of work done in our place too. And I'm kind of curious, how did you initially approach that conversation, and how did you know you were talking with the business owner?
He told me he was a business owner through the conversation. And, you know, I think a lot of you guys, this is what I've learned. A lot of you guys, I don't know if you're this way, Spencer, your conversations are you the business owner? It's like so formal. And like, I'm walking around in my bare feet out here with like, I'm eating pretzels and I'm like, how long you been doing this? Like super casual, right? It's like, I'm hanging out with someone and then, like, oh, you're the business owner. And I wasn't interested in offering anything until I heard how much he was going to charge me. And then I was like, oh, that's something I don't want to pay. Like, so at that point, I was like, okay, this is how this is going to play out. Like, so I asked him how he found, I found him through a Facebook ad. So I already knew that he was paying for advertising. Right. And, and then I went and looked at the search volume for like sliding door, and I'm like, okay. And I know the areas that he's operating in are like, they're some of the wealthiest parts of the country. So like, I think like if you have sliding doors like this, you don't have that at you don't have that in like a 1-bedroom house or something, right? That's not something that shows up in a $200,000 house where there's like bifold sliding doors and there's 4 sets of them. So the areas that he's operating in, they all have swimming pools and stuff like that. So I'm like, this seems like a soft niche. And then it like the combination of those factors are what led. And I asked him, I was like, how much do you spend on Facebook ads a month? And he said $4,000. So then I was like, okay, he's willing to spend money on advertising. And then I was like, are you on like Angie's list? And he's like, yeah, I'm spending money on Angie's list, a couple $1,000s. So I'm like, okay. So he's willing to pay for leads. He also, there's this thing for me, the first impression, really, I pay attention to it a lot. So I was up on top of my RV trying to like put this cover over top of it. And he pulls into the driveway and opens the door. It's like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Like just the energy right away. I'm like, this guy's a closer. I knew it because he's going to build the relationship. He's smiling. I got down. He kind of like I'm fit. I don't need help down this little ladder, but he's like pretending to try to help me down, and then he like shakes my hand, and it's just a really good impression. Then he comes in here and he's like looking at this. It's clear he knows exactly what he's doing. He's like, oh, okay, these doors, how old is this house? Like he knew almost like within 3 years of how the house was, looking at the doors and the style and the rollers and stuff. And he's like, okay, this is exactly what's going on. This is going to work perfect after. And it did. I let him do like the first door. So it went from like, I got to push it. Like my wife can barely open it. So it's like that, and the whole thing slides. I'm like, okay, this guy's got like a great product. And so he was like checking all the boxes for me. And then, once I heard the price, I'm like, okay, let's talk here, So I explained what I do. I said, hey, I run a marketing company. And I think it started like that. I run a marketing company and we work with contractors. And like, for me, this is true. And I feel like it gets instant credibility. It's like, I've got contractors all over the country. I've got 30 people on my team between my software company and my marketing agency. So I'm in there and I'm kind of saying it in this tone to him. I was like, are you looking to, it sounds like if you're paying for ads that you're looking for business. I can kind of show you. And I bring him in and I show him like my LeadSnap version of like, this is what my agency has produced in the last 7 days. It's like 1,000 phone calls in the last 7 days or something, right? These are like, you can listen to these calls. I show him the here's a website in this city that's ranking first. Here's another one. This is like, I showed him the heat map, just like I showed you guys. And he's just like, you know, and then we start layering in the positioning stuff. And at that point, it's really hard, I think, for him to say no. It was really more of me deciding if I wanted to work with this client. And I think he's going to be a really good fit, you know, and then the next thing I do is I have a questionnaire. You guys are not using the questionnaire system inside of LeadSnap. I think you're probably leaving money on the table. So the questions I ask him is like, what are the cities you want to target in priority order? What are the services you want to target in priority order? The reason that you're leaving money on the table, if you don't know the answers to those questions, is that like we can start to rank in one area and we look back at these questionnaires and like, oh, he wants this other area as well. Okay, so we can build out an entire new site. Maybe we pick up another 25 leads from this city, which maybe that's going to be another $1,000 a month. And then we go back and we hit another part of his questionnaire. Okay, so for him, like he went sliding repair, and then everything else, he listed off like 6 or 7 services, but everything else seemed stupid to me. Like this is $200 a door. This is $15 a door. Let's not do those. Let's go after the big ones. And he's willing to travel 100 miles. That's another question we always ask is like, how far from your location? What is your location? And then how far from your location are you willing to travel to service people? So when we know that, then we go through and we look at the populations and the demographics of all the cities, right? So he's like, we're in South Florida. There's a lot of really wealthy cities here when you're running up the coast. And that's the area that he wants to operate in. So like, I already knew the cities and like the populations that we wanted to target. And, you know, so all of this is checking boxes. 100 miles in one of the most populated spots and wealthiest parts of the country for an expensive a service that's kind of expensive, right? That just seems like a really good fit. And it's obscure enough, right? Like I think Beerend was talking about how like he was thinking about landscaping, but like sliding door repair, that's kind of obscure, right? And I'm not building out like a whole door site. I'm going to focus just on the repair part of that with this expensive service. And then my plan is like, we're going to build and all the, I'm going to build different sites. I'll get one site. I've already found like a domain that I can't believe is available that I've already purchased, right? And so that's going to be one that's going to cover all of the cities. And then we'll build out like a new site for each of those cities, right? And then we'll have GMBs. So like, let's say I'm in like Miami, right? So, and if I might have GMBs in Miami, then I'll have GMBs in, or I'll have my Miami website that will have GMBs in Miami, but it'll also have like a GMB in like West Palm Beach and like, you know, Fort Lauderdale, all these cities like that. So, and then when I have multiple sites with multiple GMBs, like that's where we start to control the map in all these different cities. It's a lot of work. And with the struggles of like getting the GMBs now, you know, I'm thinking that's temporary, but if it means that we're getting 1 in 9 GMBs live, then okay, let's send 3 times as many. That's my solution, right? If we're getting 1/3 of what we used to, we'll send 3 times as many and we'll get the same. And, you know, we're going to do things like Beerend said, where let's season the Gmail account and let's get our citation stuff set up. So, okay, cool. Spencer, do you have any other questions on that? Does that kind of cover?
Yeah, man, I was just kind of curious of how you even warmed him up to now basically gonna be making this guy a whole lot of money. I know that.
Yeah, I think that my best sales advice, talk to these people like they're humans and not like they're a sale. Just like talk to them like you met them at the bar a little bit, where like just, you know, don't put them up on this like client pedestal. Just talk like, just be human with them, be casual, be just like you're trying to make a friend, right? And in discovery of like, if we were all to go hang out, right? I do want to set up a live event. I've mentioned that a few times. Now that we have some stability, I think it's going to be a lot easier for us to manage this. But if you guys all met each other, how would that conversation go, right? Are you going to be so formal? Some of you guys get nervous when you're around these clients, but if you around this group of people where you've seen these people, you kind of got this warmth and comfortability. if you can transfer that into your client conversations, I guarantee you your closes are going to go through the roof, right? If you can just kind of have this casual, people trust, it doesn't seem like it's manufactured, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the missing piece of this, if you guys didn't catch it, is Patrick already knew that he was paying for Facebook ads. That right there, I think is great. For me in the past, when I was looking for contractors, I'm just looking for people that are ranking towards the top and then looking for reviews. A lot of times I'm not looking to do business with these people because they're already ranking high. And for me, I think that's a hard sale. But I also don't want that guy that's coming to my house that's maybe not the best to work on my home. So it's like this, it's this fine line. But Patrick's, and that's a super micro niche and super high end. So I know why you did it. Great job,
Right.
man.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, one of the strategies that I've always used when we were trying to prospect and find people is look at people who are running Google ads. Those people are already paying. And a lot of times, like I used to think the same as you, Spencer, and to some extent I still do when I see them ranking really well. But if they're ranking really well for one term, they may not be ranking well for 10 other important terms. And they may just be getting some leads because they're ranking well. And what does it look like if they're ranking well for 25 terms, right? So there can be a difference. Don't just assume that they're killing it because there's one term. And I'm like you, I don't want to get the guy, I don't want to pick the leftovers on the playground at the kickball match where like no one chose this like weenie who's like, I want the bruiser, right? I want to partner with people who are serious about their business and they want to crush it and they're aggressive, because it's just not going to work with some like, I don't know, like my favorite word in English, like milquetoast, like some just like meager little person that's like floating by and they're like, what's it going to look like if I send them 150 leads a month and they have that attitude? They're not going to be able to solve those problems, right? You have to, like, for you to get paid $4,000 or $5,000 a month from a client, they have to have a certain attitude that they're willing to, push their business ahead. And like what you started with, Spencer, where the red flags, after a little while, after you guys kind of like get past this desperation to get some money coming in, you will realize I'm not working with that person. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna find the right person. Right. Okay. The other one I want to share with you guys. So obviously we didn't have our call last week. The reason was I'm a part of a coaching program. And we had our every 12 weeks they have an in-person event. So this one was in Kelowna, Canada, which if you guys ever get the chance, beautiful, beautiful place. Awesome. It's kind of like a vacation spot for a lot of the Canadians come over there to enjoy that area. But they gather some amazing talents. I encourage you guys to constantly should be seeking to be in rooms where like you're not the smartest person, right? Or be the dumbest person in the room. That's a great room to be in. That's kind of how I feel. And as you level up, it can be harder to find some of these rooms. And I paid a lot of money to get to be a part of this. And these people that are in there, they're like, it's all software company founders that are in this mastermind. And some of these guys are like, yeah, I sold my first company for $20 million and then my next one for $7 million. And I'm working on building my third. And they bring in some amazing speakers. So two guys they brought in that I took a lot from. One is this guy, Lance Martelli. Can't remember exactly how to pronounce his name, but basically he built Club Penguin. It's a virtual world for kids. He ended up selling it to Disney for $350 million when he was 28 years old. So we got to kind of like interact with this guy for an hour and a half. His dedication towards like the product and creating like a mission-based company. Like he didn't build Club Penguin to try to make a ton of money. It was a byproduct of his commitment towards like having an amazing product. And if you guys can get in touch with that, like you guys don't think so much about how much this person is going to pay you, and you think about their story and like connecting with that, this is where you can go from being good at this to being great at this. And that's what he did. Like he shares a lot of credit with the people that make contributions, like every time somebody makes a recommendation to the platform and they put that in there, then they blast it out all over their world to millions of people. So like there's a lot to be learned. You guys aren't running software companies, at least most of you aren't, to my knowledge. So, but sharing this credit with your clients close these deals and they talk about how you're killing it, put it back on them. Like, look, we just gave you the opportunity. You're the one that closed this deal. Make it be about them and their vision. Just the way that these people's minds work is, it's phenomenal to be around that. And I would encourage you guys to seek that out. Find these people. A lot of them, there's events in every major city in the United States and all over the world. There's events with brilliant people. Find those people and like consume what they're putting out. So the second guy was this guy, Matt Bertrelli or something like this. He created the Lumi, you know, that like you put it in your kitchen and you can put like bananas and stuff and it turns it into soil that you can use. It's this, I don't know. He sold another company for $150 million and I actually got to hang out with this guy. He spoke, speech was amazing. He talked about differentiation. So he basically created a product, and I think he has some competitors, but he talked about creating a product category and how your competition is only your competition if you fail to differentiate yourself from them. So creating doing things that your competition isn't doing. How can you guys do that? And just the way that he viewed competition was, I mean, it was so different than how I've heard it. And, you know, they say that, you know, you are like the combination of like the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And, you know, some of these, and your success is correlated with how different the people are within your group. And to find people that are thinking in a different wavelength it's hard to qualify or quantify the impact that this can have. And, you know, I'm constantly doing this, constantly trying to put myself in these rooms. And I know that Jeff joined a internet marketing party in Austin, and there's people that are doing things so differently than us. If you guys have been in this like lead generation, rank and rent game for a while, you'll find that there's a lot of people that are kind of like doing similar things. And then a trend happens, right? And then everyone kind of shifts together. And if you guys can find these people that are thinking outside the box, a lot of times you don't have to wait for that trend, or you can be the person that sets this trend, right? I've seen some of the stuff that we put into our software wasn't in other people's software. And then now I see it start to show up in other people's software, and we haven't even done marketing yet. And like, it's because we're trying our best to think outside the box. We're having other people's eyes on this thing. I just want to encourage you guys to do this. Even just going to an event like this and getting kind of this energy and like plugging in with other people who are heavy hitters, like it can pop you out of your little bubble for a while. And if you can continuously pop out of that bubble, then the whole your bubble changes, right? Everything is different there. So I had an amazing time at this event. I have 2 notebook pages of changes that we're going to be putting in place with LeadSnap. Some of these you guys might not realize we're doing them. Some of them are going to be like, okay, this is how we can do support better, right? Or this is how we can provide better customer service. This is how we're going to handle different changes on our engineering team. These are things that I've spent months trying to think about. And then I'm at this place for 3 days and I'm like, oh, these are the solutions to these problems. And some of these problems after I heard it, I'm like, that's a problem that we have, but I wasn't even aware of it. Right. So you guys have to seek this stuff out. You got to get out of your day-to-day a little bit and find these things. Okay. So I know we're deep into this call, but I want to dive in with Jeff. How do you what was the name? I know that it was a name that's
right.
Is it Aditi? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, and I dropped the links in Slack for you.
Yeah, that's right. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Aditi, am I pronouncing that correct? Aditi?
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Hi.
Okay, it's nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Where are you at?
I am in New Jersey. Me and you spoke long time back when I had inquired about lead generated software, but I think
Okay.
you don't remember. Maybe a year back,
Okay.
like last year. Yeah, I don't know when, but last year we did speak. Yes.
Okay. Okay. My apologies for not remembering.
Now that's okay.
I'm glad that you're still plugged in. I've got your site up here, and I just want to make sure it's cool. I'm gonna dive into this thing on this call, and I'm gonna go through it, and that means that the other people in the group are gonna see your site, and you're cool with that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
I spoke briefly about it to Jeff. So this site was generating a lot of calls till last year. And
Okay.
then what I observed was my reviews were all gone, and Google started to put their own advertisement at the top of the page. So my area is Monmouth County, New Jersey. That's the area. And the
Okay.
city is Howell. And the calls drastically fell. Like now, I hardly get any calls with this site.
Let's see. Okay. And you've got a Google My Business, it sounds like.
Yes, I shared that too. Yes, I have a GMB too, and
Yeah.
there were several reviews there that was also gone.
Yep. This seems like symptomatic of I've got the Google My Business here as well. Okay, cool. So this seems symptomatic of what we've seen with a lot of like, there are a lot of ways to get like fake reviews, and I think Google is like aware of what's going on with this, and you need to replace these, right? And
So I'll add to it quickly. So the reviews were all genuine. They were not like any fake accounts. And
Okay.
now when I try to post them, they just don't post. Like the reviews have gone through, but they just don't appear.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna share my screen, and we'll jump into this, and I'll give you my 2 cents.
Yeah, your 2 cents. Yes, that's the point here. Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so let's start off. We got treeservices-ng.com, right? This is your site. Can you see my screen? Am I sharing the wrong?
Yes. Yeah. No. That's the right side. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just kind of browsing. So here's what I would do. One of the things I'm going to do first is I'm going to highlight the content, and I just want to know how many words you have on the home page. So we'll go to character counter, and let's check this out. Okay, you've got a lot of words, 3,200 words. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to see that. I'm going to go through and look at the tree services we offer. So you've gone through and you kind of built out some content on each section, which I think is great. I think this looks kind of, God, what is it called when you get the pictures? I'm like drawing a blank, the photo stock, which is okay on your website. You definitely don't want to have the photo stock on the GMB. If possible, I would get real photos on here. I would also just want to know, what is the name of this photo? You're naming things correctly?
Yes, so I am naming them correctly, and I have
Pre-pruning.
not used any used any stock photos in GMB. They are all taken from my phone or
Okay,
someone else's phone, so they are all like real pictures.
that's good. If you guys haven't used this plugin, this is awesome. It's free. So if you don't have a like a Majestic account, you don't need one. You can just install this, and you can get like real metrics. I hate it when they do these things because I got it. Okay, cool. All right, so I can go in here and I can look at your backlinks. I can see that it's a 1628, which, hey, that's not, in a lot of cities, I think that's going to be enough to rank. I really like to get my trust flow or like our DR, if you're using Ahrefs, into the 30s. I'm going to cross-reference this with Ahrefs too, because I do want to see some information with the backlinks. It is okay, cool. So these numbers are good. This is not a great number here. Traffic value $15. So basically what this is saying is that if you were to run Google Ads it would cost you $15 in Google ads to get the amount of organic traffic that you're getting. And that's based on like how much people are willing to pay for the words that you're ranking. So the bigger number this is, as long as the terms are relevant, the better you're doing. So organically, it doesn't look like you're ranking for a lot of valuable terms. I'm going to look at your backlinks now, and I just want to understand how strong these are and how relevant these are. So the first one, business directory, I discount those immediately. You can manufacture like your Ahrefs DR as well as like your Majestic stuff with links that appear to be strong, right? And when it's a directory, it's like anybody can come and get a directory link. What matters more is when you start to get links like this, which is, this looks like a real website, right? So I want more of those on there. This looks like, maybe this one is all right, but the general theme, we lost it. We lost our guest of honor. Okay.
Coming back in now.
Okay, cool.
There's a question if you want to add it into the flow, what's the strategy to rank better for different terms?
Yeah, so I mean, the links, the content that you put, the links that you get. So Aditi, what I was saying is, I don't know when you got dropped off, but I'm looking at your links in Ahrefs, and these first two are from directories, and they may appear to be strong, but Google knows about directories, and I think you can immediately devalue which look like to be your best two links because they're both in directories. So how are we going to rank for specific terms? Well, we want to get the text of the link, the anchor text of the link that's pointing. So in this case, it's tree removal - tree service, Columbia, South Carolina. So this would help us boost for these terms, right? Because that's one of the things. Having the content about those terms is another thing. For you Google My Business, I think that you can influence the ranking on a term level if you mention those terms within the review section as well as the questions section. You absolutely want to have a little bit of content about your terms in the description of what your business does. Okay, so kind of moving through this, the good thing about a lot of the links that you've gathered here is that they appear to be within the tree niche, right? So this one is from, that's not your site, is it? Okay, cool. So this one, like, and also Google will judge the relevance of the site that's linking to you by the domain name. So having tree service in the domain name of the site that's linking to you, that's great, because that's a hard thing to fake, right? That's like, this site is dedicated towards tree service. I can't next week have this site be about, plumbing. Well, it could be about plumbing, but it's not going to be in the domain. So that's kind of like a hard thing and when you kind of combine that with the DR and some of these things, so it's almost there's a correlation with like the things that are harder to fake are going to, like a loose correlation that more often they're going to contribute more to a better ranking of a site, right? Okay, so going through, we've got another, this one looks, just kind of looking at the URLs, you can tell pretty quickly, you can get kind of a hot and cold feeling. That is like, that looks like a junky URL to me, getnews.info, right? Whereas if we look at this one, Columbia's tree service.com, right? So I pay attention a lot to this. Buy PlayStation. That's nothing to be proud about getting that link. That's not gonna provide a lot of juice for you, in my opinion. Also, the let's just go to this Columbia Tree Service site for a second. If the site that you're getting a link from has a lot of other links going out from it, then that's not good, right? This I don't know that that's the case on this one, but if there were, you'll see these sites maybe on this Buy PlayStation thing here. Where did that thing go? This one. A lot of times when you get links like this, it looks like you did maybe like a guest post or something on this site.
Correct. Yeah.
So sometimes you'll see these links on here and there'll be like a comment section and there'll be 400 comments where everyone's like backlinking to their own sites. We don't do that in our agency. We avoid those type of sites because it's super spammy and it's just like, that's not what I want to have associated with my site. And like, the value of the page is so devalued when it's being divided between 400 different links, right? Unless it's coming from Microsoft.com, then like there's not the pie is probably not big enough when it's divided that much where each person's going to get something. And then there's like, if 400 different people are coming off that, then it's like Google knows, they pay attention to the outgoing links from it. I think Ahrefs actually lists that in here. So, okay. So that's kind of like what I would pay attention to. I would spend more time if this were my site and I was going into it for Ahrefs. But let's go back to the domain. I want to look at, it looks like you have 4 or 5 pages on the site. Is that right?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, I would build more. So this is a site command. You can see 4 pages. So in our agency, what we do is like step 1 is like 2 pages. Just get the site live. And then step 2 is 10 pages. And then like what we call phases. Phase 3 is like 25 pages. So for a site that's not ranking very well, and I go and I see 4 pages, this is a red flag for me. I'm immediately building more pages. And you know, I think Jeff, it was a few weeks ago where I dove into like how to find the content, right? Like what topics to talk about. Aditi, go through that video and find out all about the different pages that you can go through and the strategies that we would use to know what to talk about here. Okay, so I can see another kind of mistake on here. You are optimizing. Okay, so one of the things that Google pays attention to is click-through rate. Okay, and you've got like you've clearly tried to get your keywords in the city in here, but this doesn't look super clickable. And this is also repeated 3 times. This right here. Each one of these should be its own. This should say stump grinding on. Oh, it does here. So like here's a strategy that you might use is you could do something like if this was going to be, if this stump was going to be my, here's what you can do. Let's do this. I'll go SERP preview tool. Okay. And I'm just going to make one for you guys based on stump grinding. Okay. So this is what I would do is like stump grinding, and the area is, what was that? Monmouth,
Monmouth,
Monmouth.
MONMOUTH.
Okay, so if you use, I saw you did this, and I don't know if this came from our last call. I do this a lot. Monmouth, New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I'm going to change this, and I'm just going to say, and what if I threw in like this in here too? Does it look like I won an award? Like, does it look like this is adding credibility, right? And then what else can I do in here related to stump grinding? And part of what is going to decide this for me is I want to look at what this page looks like. Stump grinding. I love that you're doing stump removal, right? Let's get that in there too, because I know that is going to be one of your keywords, right? So stump grinding, and you can see this thing is telling me when you use these tools, I've gone over. This is how many pixels are going to show. So it's starting to cut it off. I don't want it to get cut off. Right? So maybe I can't get that in there. Maybe I don't need New Jersey because people that live there know what that is, right? So I would do something like this where I'm really trying to influence the click-through rate. And then I'm going to try to sell it in here. It's not going to be a collection of keywords. Tree service, how New Jersey has a variety of stump grinders. No job is too small. This is like lukewarm for me. I'm not really like, oh, okay, that's the company I want to call. I want to mix that in there. And like, maybe I'm going to say like, hey, we've been in business for 20 years. We have like, I don't know if like warranty is the thing in like tree removal because it's gone. So that's over. But if there's like a warranty thing in there, I would get that in there. Licensed, bonded,
Like fully licensed. Yes. That
Yeah.
I get that question that if you are
Put that in here,
licensed,
people
yes.
want to know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So sell it in here. And what you can also do is like, here's a strategy. If you've got one of these accounts. So let's say I do like stump removal. Okay, so I'm gonna find out who is ranking best in the United States for stump removal. There's YouTube. I want like, I want to get past like the national sites that are like Home Depot and stuff. Here's LV Tree Services, stump grinding. Okay, so this is like a legit site, right? This is, I mean, this is like a local site. This isn't like Home Depot is ranking in Las Vegas, probably. Is that where this is? I don't know where this is, but okay. So here's what you can do is you can go, and this might backfire, but if you do this enough, you'll find what you're looking for. Okay, look at what they're using and some of the stuff that they're putting in here. This site is, according to Ahrefs, this is one of the best ranking sites for like this term in the country. And they're also a local site, so they're not ranking because they're Home Depot. And these are the tags and the information that they're putting in here. So look at this and see. And this is what I mean where it could backfire, because I don't think this is great. It's just like they're listing off keywords. So, but if you go through and find other ones of these, this is a contributing factor to your ranking, is click-through rate and like having this stuff optimized. So you have the ability to find the people that are doing it the best, and then use like the copycat method a little bit and change it to be your own. You don't want to use exactly what they're doing, but kind of get the vibe of what they're doing there, right? Okay, so we've talked a lot about the site so far. You definitely need more pages. I would be paying attention to the links that are coming to these pages. I would also, let's do a character count on this one too. What did that do? 622 words. I would beef that up. I know like a training course that I did and some other people, I think they recommended like 500 or 750. All of ours are at least 1,000. And if you go through that content video, and you'll see in there, like, this is what I would do. I would go stump removal, and I would go through this, and I want to, how much does it cost to pull out a stump? That question and like phrase exactly like this is going to be on my stump removal page. I'm going to answer all these questions here, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing with stump grinding. Your goal is to be the Wikipedia on this subject. Is it worth it to grind the stump? So like you can go through and rephrase this. This question is here because people are asking it enough where Google's like, okay, if you're talking about this, we get this question all the time, right? Like just, you said you get this, you got some question all the time. This is Google's FAQs on the subject. So if you want to be the expert on the subject, you're going to get appreciation votes from Google if you have the most popular questions and you're answering this and you're covering it, right? So I would get those on your, and do the same thing for some of your other pages, like bulk up that content. All right, let's look at your Google My Business. Do you have any questions on this, Aditi?
No. So what I observed was the ranking. Yes, ranking went down, and also the after all the Google updates, the calls went down. So and yes, I can make these improvements in my site, but I don't know how to how to deal with the GMB stuff, like especially.
Yeah, we're going to jump into that now.
Okay.
We'll go into that now. If you find that, okay, so is this what's the city? Is it, you've got a few cities that you're trying to rank in, right?
So these cities are very small. So when I did my research, I found that Monmouth is a county and the city is Howell. So I found that the ranking was if in terms of keywords, Monmouth County ranked higher than if I isolated just a city. So I focused on that.
Okay. You kind of know from before the rankings dropped off what it's capable of producing. How many calls per month were you getting?
I was getting like around 30, 35, sometimes even 50 calls.
Okay. How much was your client paying you for this when you were getting those calls?
So they were paying me $20 per lead, and then 2% for all deals closed.
Okay. Do you feel like they were being honest with you with the commission?
Yeah. The guy was nice. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have no complaint with the customer, but the calls dried up. So
right. I just want to make sure you got that dialed in. I would be looking for with 30 tree calls a month, I'd be looking for at least $1,000. I think.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
maybe that's what you were at with 20 plus 2%.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing that sticks out, you have to get reviews. And if it turns out that this GMB is no longer willing to accept reviews,
Hmm.
like one thing I would reach out to Google and let them know. Another thing I would set up another Google My Business if I have to, but you're just not going to be able to rank this thing with 1 4-star review. That's like, if there's any level of competition. And as Beerend said at the beginning of this call, a lot of times the tree services are going to be, it's going to be like more challenging. Another big problem that I'm seeing right here, the name of your GMB is tree services. That is like the most generic sounding Google My Business ever. Like this doesn't look like a real site to me when I see that, just tree services, right? It's perfect for if we wanted to get a keyword in, but here's what I would do is, let's say that your client is like, Jim, Bob, Tom, tree services, then maybe I would do something like JBT, tree services of, and then the city, or like Premier Tree Services, Elite Tree Services, get some branding in there. And I would also potentially get a geographic locator in there. I'm kind of like, I think it was maybe the last call was 2 weeks ago, but I think on that call, we talked about best practices for protecting your GMBs. One of them is like, don't do this, where you just use just like a straight keyword. So I don't know if Google has you on some kind of like filtering soft suspension. They removed your reviews. That's not a good thing. Like they've paid attention to this on some level. I would potentially change this. It seems like the value of this Google My Business is depleted because you've lost a lot of your calls. So the risk of getting it suspended is not what it used to be, right?
So if I change the name now, so I have thought about it, and you're right. I did think about it to change the name, but what I am apprehensive is if I change the name, that will trigger a suspension.
Yeah, and it might. But what I'm saying is that this GMB that has like 1 review and is not accepting reviews and it's not generating calls. When this thing was producing 30 calls a month,
right.
The penalty for getting it suspended is high. And now that it's not producing very well, the penalty is a lot lower. Does that make sense?
Oh, got it.
So I would be like more willing to take some chances with a GMB that's not performing, that's in this position, than one that is performing very well. And another thing that I am going to do 100% of the time when I am trying to figure out how something is ranking in a heat map or in the map is I'm running a heat map, right? And if I were you, I would build out a list of keywords like stump grinding, stump removal, tree service, and I want to know how we're ranking in these different areas, like for each one of these terms, right? So, Aditi, does this square fully cover the area that you're concerned about ranking in, or it does? This is exactly.
Little more might be good till Red Bank, but this is good enough. Yes, initially this was the area that it covered, and I have used your heat map in the past, and yes, that's right. That looks right.
Okay, you said Red Bank would be good, so like this area here would be. I just want to know that everyone, you have the ability to do this. So let's make sure we get Red Bank in here. Okay. So how does that look? Does that look good?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll let's get this Spotswood. It looks like maybe there's some people there. Okay. So I'm going to start this and.
Hey, Aditi, when was the last time you tried to drop a review on that GMB?
Couple of months back or a few, maybe one month back.
I had a tree GMB that something similar happened to, and I just let it sit there for a little while, and then lately I've been throwing reviews at it and they're sticking. So it could be a time factor. I do agree with Patrick that changing the name would be valuable, and it's better to do that now before you get a bunch more reviews on there.
Got it. Yeah.
To the beginning, some kind of like a more, less generic identifier, whatever tree services. I think it'll be okay. There is a risk for sure.
Yeah, but since I'm not getting any calls, then the risk, like Patrick said, the risk is lower. I mean, for something which is high performing, you're putting more things at stake.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. So you also want to, we also want to check the citations.
Yeah.
Have you paid attention to your citations for this site?
So I have not paid attention to this site for a while. I did citations. Yes, I did citations in the beginning when it generated calls. But lately, no, I have not done any new citations.
You need to pay attention to that. We can't ignore the citations, right? You need to know what that is. And maybe you lost citations, maybe you lost reviews. All these things are contributing to like what's painting this picture. There's not one thing. I'm going to look, you have 14 photos. I would never, my Google My Business, it looks like you said, these are real photos. These look real to me, but 14 is not enough. Like, I want 10 for every category that's available within this like business sector. So I don't know what it is for tree services, but I know that there's probably at least like 3 or 4. So that means there's 4 categories. Like sometimes they'll have like a my team, they'll have an at work. And then like, I want 10 photos at least in all of those. So you should have at least like 30 to 40. You can see like by owner, maybe these are the categories shown here. So flower, if flower is here, then there's probably other ones that are available. You need to max this stuff out. Even if this gives you like a 1% edge, then let's take that 1%, right? And let's do, maybe there's 8 or 9 things that are going to give us a 1% edge. So then we're got 8 or 9%, right? So you can easily, I don't know what the address is for your Google My Business. If you have it, what you can do is you can say like, this is the app. Okay, so I'm going to do this with the phone number and I'm going to remove, it will pick this stuff up. If I just do that, right, it'll still have that. And then let's say it was like 1, 2, 3 Easy Street. Oh, that's actually a place, Athens, Georgia. Okay, so I'm going to do this and oops, and put the quotes around each one of these like this, because this is going to say, hey, it needs to look exactly like this. And it also needs to look exactly like.
I can give you the address if you want. It's 55 Winged Foot Court.
Hold on one second. 55
Winged. Yeah. FOOT. Court. Yeah.
You have it like this or like what's spelled out?
FT.
CT?
No, CT and FT.
Oh, I see. Like this.
Correct.
And then, okay. What's the
Howell, HO?
Like that?
Yes. Howell, New Jersey. Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to leave it like this. It will pick up New Jersey. So let's just kind of see. You have, this isn't picking up on, hold on, wait. Operator error. Okay. So I'm not showing any citations for you. I don't know if I did something stupid. It's been a while since I've done this. And maybe like, hey, let's do this. I don't think this is what it is.
No, maybe we should put the full FOOT and then just let me check. Hold on.
I don't think it's going to pull it up. It's basically what it's telling me is it's not finding your address and phone number. And if this is slightly different on your citations, that could potentially affect it. Like you have the dash mark in here, but you want to be consistent with how you set this up. So you want to use the same format on each one of them, right? So that Google, make it really easy for Google to know that this is the same spot. And I kind of like think about citations like this. If I go to Howell, New Jersey, and I say, hey, who's the best pizza place? And I ask someone, they're like, it's Tom's. And then I ask someone else and it's like, it's Bob's. And I ask someone and they say it's Frank's, then I'm getting like 3 different opinions and I'm not sure. But if I go and everyone says it's Frank's, and it's all consistent, then I start to get some confidence in this place. And that's kind of how citations are. When you have this address and phone number listed and it's the same, and they keep finding it on good sites, like you should have a Yelp set up, right? You can actually pick up some leads through Yelp. You should have Facebook, Yellow Pages, Crunchbase, all of these different like major citations. Those should have your address and phone number on each of them, because that's going to give confidence. So we've got no reviews. We don't have enough pictures. We don't have, we're not finding citations. Is this true? Is this really open 24 hours a day?
Yeah, the guy I worked with, he works emergency as well.
Okay. The review you have, okay, we've got a response in here. That's great. I would coach these responses. We don't have a big sample size here, but I'm getting a keyword and a location in this stuff. So professional reasonable quote for tree removal. So when I respond, I'm going to say like, hey, we really appreciate the opportunity to give you a quote on tree removal in in the Howe, New Jersey area. We'd be happy to like move forward with the service if you wanted, like things like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So Patrick, I have a question. So before I change their name, should I take all the measures, the corrective measures first, and then try to change their name?
I would probably change the name first, and I may change the name. I'm a little hesitant to say this because I don't think it's as true as it used to be, but you used to be able to kind of like put name changes in there and kind of do it slowly. So if I wanted to change this to like JBT Tree Service of Howe, I might not make that whole change at once. I might put like JBT Tree Service and then like a month later put of Howe, New Jersey in there, right? So, but I'm not sure that's true. I think Google might be hip to that like slow change thing. So here's what I would do if I were you is I would get citations in place before you make this change. Get the citation, especially the major ones, and let them sit for a couple weeks. Like the ones I mentioned, Yelp, Yellow Pages, Crunchbase. I know there's a bunch of other ones. I can give you a list of big ones, but I would get those in place with the new name. And then I would make the change. So then like let Google know about it, and that number and address is matching. And then you change this as something that's out there and exists. And I think you'll build up more trust that way and reduce your potential of a suspension. I wouldn't try to get a ton of reviews until that's done. But I like maybe order the citations and let those citations be there before. You might lose like 80 or $100 if this thing gets suspended on the citation order. Correct. Yeah, you can see how you're ranking here. Like look at this. There's not one spot where you're ranking. You might be filtered. Like Google might be like, hey, this Aditi girl is trying to abuse us. Let's slap this GMB, right? To have it be ranking and then fall off to where you're non-existent. This is why you're not getting any calls from your Google My Business.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go back in here and see if there's any other discoveries. I would make sure, I can't tell if all the stuff is built out. With our tool, you've got the ability to have posts. I would get posts on there right away. Like there's no like downside or risk to making posts. You can go to your My Business. Okay, cool. So let's look real quick at where did it go? There it is. Okay, so this thing's completed, and now we have the ability to see who is crushing it. And you're not on this list because you've got to make one appearance in the top 20 to show up on this list. This is the company that is first, and I just want to see. That's what their heat map looks like, right? So if I had run this heat map for them, this is what it would look like. You can see that they've got like a number of 1s and 2s. This looks like pretty close to the center of the area that we're targeting, which is great for them. Okay, and if I click on this, then I can go and I can look and see, look at this. So you're competing against somebody who has 94 5-star reviews and you've got 1 4-star review, right? They've got 36 photos, you've got 14 photos. So when we're going through, they've got their address showing here too, which this is kind of a double-edged sword. You're going to get more trust if you show your address, but there's also the potential that Like, what's going to happen if you put that out there? I think nothing. Like, but maybe somebody shows up at this address and is like, hey, can you come look at my trees? And then this address is like not really it's like some dude's house or something, right? Let's look at their website real quick. So you need to beat these people in every category, right? So if I go and I look, they've got a bunch of questions on there. I was telling you, like, add questions. So they're using that strategy. I don't know what this content looks really weak content. So you're beating them in content already. This looks like a one-page website. Okay. So they've got weak organic, no links. That's great to see. But their GMB, they have 94 reviews. The story of ranking is not limited to, like, how many different things that we talked about so far, like 10 or 15, right? So it's spread across all those things. All those things are contributing. You can see they're crushing it with reviews. And if you go through, you can actually go through and look at how long these reviews, that's a long review. The long ones are worth more value, right? They're especially, they have more opportunity, like trees and cleaning and like, so they're like trees removed. These reviews are getting keywords into their association, right? All these reviews are so long that I question their authenticity, because every single one of them.
Yeah, how many real customers will take that time to put
That's
such
right.
a long review, right?
Yeah. You can see, like, I pay attention to this stuff too. Like, I would get some of this stuff into the, like, things are like Google's finding things in common. Like, I would pay attention, like, especially if I determine that these are real reviews. But this is what you're up against. This is, I mean, their site is so weak that, like, maybe we can discount this by half. If like, you might be able to beat them if you have 30 reviews, because the rest of their contributing profile was weak, but you're not going to beat them with 1 4-star. And I'll tell you, my attitude is, like, I don't want to lose at anything to these people. Like, just like I was telling the guy that we closed today, like, I want to demolish this competition, right? I want to absolutely obliterate them. So I would reach out to Google and I would ask, like, hey, our customers are posting reviews and they're not showing up on Google. Like, why is that happening? Like, just don't be an SEO company when you call them. Be a tree person.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
So should I do that before I change the name, or like, should I do that now or wait or cite it?
that's a good question. And you know, I'm guessing when I give you some
Yeah, of course.
right? There's
Yeah.
no manual here.
Correct.
I would probably change the name first, and I would get the citations first, and then I would like, Google's going to look at this. You don't want to, like, trigger a manual review with this name. Like, Google's like, that is not a real business. That they're not going to go to, like, I don't know if you need a license in New Jersey, but they're not going to go and find a license for a company called Tree Services, right? That's just
The
not.
license is not that important from what I understand about the business, because none of the sites that I have checked in locally have, or not, I won't say none, but most of them do not have the license displayed. People do ask about insurance though, yes.
Every company performing tree work in New Jersey must have who is licensed.
Their license is needed, but people don't ask about it, or it's not there in their GMB or their websites.
I would put on my site, if your client, you still have a client, he's just not paying you. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay. So your client has a license, and I would get that on the site, because that's just an opportunity for more credibility, right?
Okay.
This is the site that was linking to your site. This is some other, this isn't your, no, that's that Black PlayStation thing. That's the one we found. This is your site here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could have right here, licensed, bonded and insured. And then, yeah, I would put more content on those service pages too. I think it's a really good idea to have this stick out more. Like, if you look at like sites that are converting really well, then they're going to convert like maybe like 10% would be a big number. A lot of it's going to be like 5% or somewhere around there. And you can do little things like this blends into the page, this form, this blends into the page.
Make it stand out.
Make it stand out. Make this button be green. Change this button from submit to be like, get my free
Estimate.
service quote.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I like the first name, last name. I do that too, because I don't know if you're using our system, but the automations, like you could send this person a text with their first name if you, the way you have it set up. I would probably require the email, a little bit about what you need. That's good. This is really plain Jane for me. And a lot of people do this where they put a picture of the person that's doing work, but there's been a lot of psychological studies that show things convert better when it's like when it's like a family smiling, especially women, like having a woman smiling in front of her house with clean trees is better than some dude hanging off the side of a tree. People don't resonate with that. If you can create an emotional connection with what this person is.
Got you. Yeah. Kids, pets, women. Yeah.
Safe home with like
Yeah.
trees that are like well taken care of, and the family. Like then when these people come to it, they can connect with that. So this might only be a small edge, but let's say your conversion.
But whatever.
Let's say your conversion rate goes from 3% to 6% because you make some good changes on here. That's like you're ranking for twice as many things. It's almost like you're getting twice as many visitors to your site, right? So those little changes can go a long way. This call now, you might want to put the phone number in it. And again, I would use that language of, like
Get quote.
Yeah. Get my free quote. Like,
Yeah.
Make my yard beautiful today. Like I would experiment with it. A lot of this stuff is like starting to get nitpicky, but I would divide this content can kind of seem like a little overwhelming when it's all just like in a straight line. One of the things people pays attention to is like dwell time. And if you like one of the previous calls, I talked about putting an infographic. So if I did like tree service infographic, if you can get someone to stop and look at this thing for 20 seconds and your dwell time changes, like this might have been the same niche that I did this on, but like things like this, you can have someone from like Fiverr or somebody create one of these. And if somebody sees this and they kind of stop and look at this for a little while, and you could even have a link. So they pay attention to bounce rate too, right? So bounce rate is when someone comes to your site and then they leave. They come here, they look at this, they say, I don't like that. I don't like the way this feels. I'm out. That's a bounce. But if they come here and then they go to another page.
Spend some time. Yeah.
Yeah. If they go to another page within your site, then it's not a bounce. So if you can ask a question that they're looking for and then partially answer it and say, read more, and then that goes to another page, you can almost like manufacture your bounce rate to some extent. And if you do enough of these small things, this is where things like you need to do the big things I've mentioned, but you do the small things too and combine those. This is where you can really see some stuff start to improve. And honestly, like if this Google My Business came back, if your Google My Business, the one we ran it for, came back and it was crushing it, I would be surprised based on what I've seen. Like with one review, not a lot of pictures, no citations. Like I would be surprised that was ranking. So this story is consistent with a lot of the parts of your Google My Business. Do you feel like, Aditi, you have an action plan for what to do here?
Yeah, the demoralizing part was I had clients and I had calls and that went down, and then the reviews won't stick. So I didn't, to be honest, I did not take any action on this website. I did not work on this website at all for several months now. Yeah,
and I know that this would look better if you had more reviews, and it looks like it looks like the people that you competed against, the strength of their website was weak and the strength of their GMB is better than yours. So when we evaluate the GMB, like their GMB is better than yours. So that's why their GMB is performing better than yours, right? It's like they're beating you in every category. I didn't put the citations in there, but I can guarantee you that they're gonna have, like, if they have one, they've got more than zero. So right. So they probably got a Yelp page and a Facebook page. The bad part about competing against some of these businesses, they're gonna get citations because they're gonna go and make a Facebook page and a Yelp page and do these things. You can't let them beat you on that, right? You can't, like, if you are a business owner and you don't know how to rank a site, you know that getting listed on like Yelp is like, there's an advantage to that. And like, let me get listed on Facebook, and they're going to do some of these like basic steps. So a lot of these companies by default are going to have some of the strong citations, and that's something I'm not going to let them have an advantage on me. So here's the number 2. Let's look. These guys have 82 reviews. These guys have 44 reviews. So that's the pathway that I would take. Are you? I'm sorry, Aditi. Are you in this area? You're in New Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like getting reviews should be less challenging for you because you want to get local people. Like if you're in this area, and also the reviews that you get, what I would do is I would you can take photos. Like you can take photos as you go around town and you see like good landscaping, and make sure your GPS is turned on, and then like click that thing that says like, where am I now? And then take the photos. And it's like the photos are real photos and they're geotags, and you could like, these could be used as a part of a review that comes in, right? I wouldn't have every review have photos associated with it, but one out of like having like 2 or 3 photos for every 6 or 7 reviews that comes in, like that can add some more legitimacy to the reviews, you know?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Here I have a question, Patrick. First of all, can you suggest any website? I know you guys are starting your own citation service. Since that is not available yet, do you suggest any particular service provider that I can, who are more trustworthy than others? And my next question is, how are we doing reviews? Like, what is the best way to get reviews?
Yeah, so the first question, if you want, just send Jeff a message. Even though we don't have an ordering system built into LeadSnap, we can take orders on the citations, and like that's one thing. And then the best way to get reviews. So I've got to like skate around this question a little bit because it's illegal to pay for reviews. Okay.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
But I've heard that people pay people off of Craigslist and places like this to get reviews. And, you know, maybe there's success with that. If you're in this city, maybe somebody I don't want to tell you to get fake reviews, but I would say there's ways to solve that problem. If you just kind of like think through it, Google's not going to know if your mom writes a review, right? Or your, like, whoever else you know from this town, like, all of those people are subject to it. And when you're in person, I've heard that people have had success by paying. You could pay a stranger potentially. I would think. I imagine someone has done that.
Starbucks or something.
Yeah, like find a way to get the reviews, right? Just like I mention this all the time. When you start this company, you're not just an SEO person, you're a problem solver. The goal is to get reviews. What can you think of to create to get what you need? And you need them.
Yeah. Yep.
My target would be 2 to 3 reviews a week. And I would not feel real good about it until I have like 40 or more, because you're beating them in other parts on the website stuff, at least for the one site that we evaluated. I would evaluate some of these other sites, and get the pictures on there on your GMB, like post them as the owner and also post them as the customer.
Sure.
You've got a long laundry list of things to do. I know that it is demoralizing, like you said, and like, hey, this thing was ranking great. Like, you can probably get it back, because I think this is not, I don't think this is like a super tough market, but you've got to plug the leaks on the missing stuff on the GMB.
Yep.
Okay.
Will do. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Patrick, for spending so much time and critiquing both the things, both site and the GMB.
You're welcome. I appreciate you coming on here and kind of like showing your stuff to other people. I know some people are like, I don't want anyone to know about whatever. So thank you for doing that. And I think it was great because there are, I'm sure, dozens of people that are going to watch this video that have the same struggles. And if you can take some of this stuff away and apply it to your guys' GMBs, then I think what you did here provided a lot of value for other people. So I'd love to hear, not in the Zoom comments, but in the Facebook comments, guys. I would love to hear your biggest takeaways from this call, the stuff that you're not doing, the stuff that you think is gonna help move the needle for you. And then actually, Didi, are you friends with Leo LeadSnap?
No.
That's a helper on our team. So anyone that wants to order citations, you guys can reach out to Leo LeadSnap. We'll give you a breakdown. I didn't have the like stuff prepped, but pretty soon you'll be able to order that as well as content through us using the same content strategies that I shared a couple weeks ago. That's how we do it. It'll be our content writers that are kind of like writing and curating all the content that comes through. Obviously, you can get citations and content from other places. This is what's worked for our agencies, what we're kind of sharing with you guys. So, all right, you guys,
Okay.
do you have something else, Aditi?
No, I will get in touch with Jeff to get Leo's profile or send him a friend request or message him.
Yeah,
yeah.
let me bring up Mr. Leo here. Hold on one second. I will show you guys what this handsome devil looks like. Leo LeadSnap. It was really fortunate for us to find somebody named Leo LeadSnap to work for us. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. This is Leo LeadSnap's profile here. And I've met him. He looks just like this. So I guess we should have a better name up there for him, but Aditi, send me a message or Jeff will refer it to you. But anybody else that is interested in ordering that, he supports our group and helps us out. So this is a great resource for you guys to become friends with and help you through some of the questions and stuff. Okay. All right. So you guys, we've got a week before the next call. We've got a week left in the quarter, a week and a couple days. So how are you guys going to end quarter two? Are you guys going to create some wins? As you saw, the wins don't have to look like, hey, I landed a $5,000 client. We saw that. I tried to talk about it, and then we went to a live one. But Angela has a win. She finished her first site with finished my first page on 10 sites. So like that's a great win, right? So taking action is a great win. If you're somebody who's been sitting there trying to analyze everything and you haven't getting started, like your win could be that, hey, I've started my first site, or I've completed my first site. Just get in the game, guys. Take some action that's going to help you move forward. So you guys, let's have a great week. Let's create some wins. You guys stay safe, and we'll see you in the group. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.
We're going.